Good morning. They tell me that a meeting that starts on time and ends on time is the best meeting you can have. So we're going to start on time at least. Welcome to the February meeting of the Dallas SAR chapter. I'm very happy to be here, and we're happy to have a room full of guests, which we'll get to shortly. As we get started, I would ask our secretary, Tom Whitelock, if he would give us the invocation.
Please stand, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for allowing us to gather together to honor our patriots, to honor our country, our families, and our friends. Watch over those that are in harm's way or ill. Give them strength and courage, and be mindful of your presence in their life. We thank you very much for the youth of our nation who are our future, and for their involvement with patriotic causes such as CAR, and with the help of the DAR and the SA. Be with us as we meet and decide our future, and be with us as we depart today. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tom. Please remain standing. Robert Critcherell, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chalmers, would you lead us to the pledge of the Texas flag?
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And Jerry Brown, would you lead us in the affirmation of the SAR?
We sentence of the heroes of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith and principles of liberty and our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against all foes.
And now the highlight of the morning. Brother John Morton, would you lead us in America?
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Thank you. You may be seated. He's a great technician as well. Ralph McDowell.
Yes, sir.
Our greeter for this morning, would you please tell us about that and your assistant, and also I think you have an announcement.
Thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Schomburg and I trying to greet all of you, and hope we miss you. So, okay, who has a birthday in February? Anybody? Good.
Thanks, Matt.
Well, joining Tom many years ago, our president, George Washington, and his birthday in February. We honor Tom and George today with something special.
And if anyone has a question while Ralph is doing this, Tom and George were in the same high school class.
Today, something special. These little cookies we're going to have for everybody are the cookies made from the lesson reading that Martha Washington made at children. Our original recipe. We'll pass them around. I think as we do that, Tom, let's sing happy birthday to Tom. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tom. Happy birthday to you.
All right. While Ralph continues giving out his gifts, I do want to thank a few people. We have some guests this morning. Our member, but also our president-elect for the state, David Temple. Our District 6 Vice President, Gary Lovell. Our Inland Registrar, Jerry Brown. Thank you for coming. As we go around the room, there's going to be some people introduced that you'll probably see later, but I'm going to start with Jerry Pinkerton. You have some guests here this morning.
Important people with me. Today, we're going to induct Paul McCown. His wife, Kathleen, is here, and his mother-in-law, Sheila, plays hockey with us. So you'll see us up in the front later.
Welcome, everybody. Jerry Brown, you have some people at your table.
I have one person, and that's David Kinsey, who is the new president of the McKinney chapter of the SAR.
David, you and I can share the training wheels. This is my first time too, so okay. Looking around the room in the back. When we get to just in front of David Temple, we have some people sitting with Marshall Scanlon. And we have Nancy Burke, and we have Trevor Burke. Yes, and these people will be joining us shortly. We want to thank you. Okay, listen, I'm listening to you, General. I'm telling you.
Excellent conversation.
Oh, let me tell you something. He's a weekend. I'm telling you. And also joining us as the former past president of the East Fork Trinity chapter, Les Anderson. A lot of you know Les. Les does a tremendous job, particularly with the memorials for our former members, and the work that he's done there is outstanding, and we thank you for that. Okay, now we'll get to the business. Since our District Vice President Gary Lovell is here, I'm going to ask him to come forward because we have a little work that we have to do. It seems that in January, when the new officer slate was installed, one of our members seemed to have been in a grass skirt somewhere on a cruise ship. So, Jerry Pinkerton, if you would come up.
Real story. Okay. All right. What did I do?
Thank you, Speaker. Having been duly elected to the office of the Dallas chapter of Sons of the American Revolution, do you promise to swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and bylaws of the National Society of Sons of the American Revolution? And do you further promise to swear that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will at all times conduct yourself in a manner worthy of our society? So if you got
I would.
compatriots, once again, compatriots of the Dallas chapter, I would officially install this said new, not so new, officer, duly elected by you. May I now remind you of your obligations to him and our fellow officers to support and encourage them in the discharge of their duties, thus furthering the principles and purposes of their Sons of the American Revolution. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to say anything?
Just one comment. I wasn't in a grass skirt. I wasn't on a cruise ship. I was in Sedona, looking at the beautiful countryside out there. But that was, see, my diversion worked.
It did.
Nobody could find me.
That's exactly right. I mean, even our treasurer was looking for you. As a sidebar, we'll hear a little more from Jerry later, but Jerry was the man who sponsored me into the chapter, and I can't thank him for all the work that he and Jerry Brown both did for me, but also the ongoing work that he does and Jerry does at the inland position. There's a great amount of effort that takes place, and he's been giving me a report ever since I got elected on the amount of activity that he's had. I had no idea that there are this many people contacting the SAR and particularly the Dallas chapter for membership. And it's very encouraging to see that we have so many people in the offing that are looking to become members and to come through our chapter. Starting with next month's minutes, we're going to hopefully attach to that a list of the activities that Jerry has. That just for this year, I'm not even going to talk about last year because there was a lot of stuff last year, but so that you all will be able to see just exactly how well we're growing, because it's very encouraging. Okay, now our first Vice President, Mark Harrison.
Thank you, Tom, and congratulations, Jerry. And Jerry sponsored me too and did many years of work trying to get me in, so I do appreciate that, Jerry Brown.
Some people were harder.
I was not a good subject. So I'd like to introduce our Americanism speaker today. He's been with us before, but Trevor Burke is here today. He is currently the president of the Texas CAR organization. As you can tell from his uniform, he's also a very active Eagle Scout. He's a senior at St. Mark's School of Texas. He has achieved 23 palms, which is the highest rank in scouting. He's also achieved, as you'll see on his sash, 139 merit badges, which I understand is the full complement. So that's something that very few have accomplished. He's a recipient of the Boy Scout Hornaday Silver Medal, which is in recognition of work on four very significant environmental projects. Been very involved in that, and also a recipient of the Boy Scout Supernova STEM Award. He's been elected to represent the Boy Scouts of America as a Boy Scout delegate representing the entire organization to present the report to the nation to the President, the Speaker of the House, Congress, and other dignitaries as it's required by its congressional charter. He'll make that presentation in Washington next month. He's very passionate about protecting and preserving the environment. Has a project working on helping protect and restore blackland prairie lands. He can probably tell us a lot more about that. He's also been a recent recipient of the 2018 SeaWorld Busch Gardens Environmental Excellence Award, the Future Man of Action Award by the Southwest U.S. Congress, and was named a Distinguished Texas Finalist for the Potential Spirit of Community Award. In his spare time, which is kind of hard to imagine how he has any spare time, he plays the saxophone and participates in science-related activities and hanging out with his siblings. So, in his Americanism talk today, we've asked him to read us the essay that he's written as part of the 9 essay contest. The title is Lock, Stock, and Barrel: Locke's Impact on the American Revolution. And after that, he's going to tell us a little bit about a project that CAR has this year involving recognizing the signers of the Texas Declaration of Independence. So, Trevor?
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here. I give this essay to y'all. This is the essay that I wrote for the night essay contest. I named it Lock, Stock, and Barrel, and it's Locke's impact on the American Revolution. For we must consider that we shall be upon a city upon a hill. The eyes of all the people are upon us. John Winthrop. John Winthrop, City Upon a Hill, circa 1630. From the start, the colonies were formed to escape Great Britain's oppressive government. The colonists believed a new land founded in freedom would serve as a beacon of light to others across the world. This hope prompted the colonists to set forth their grievances against Great Britain, to declare their independence, and to adopt a new form of government based on individual rights. Significantly, our founding fathers relied heavily on the teaching of English political philosopher John Locke in setting forth the reasoning of their new democratic government. John Locke lived in England in the 17th century and commented on the duties and responsibilities of government in his now famous work, Two Treatises of Government. While he died in 1704, well before the American Revolution, he indirectly championed American ideals and independence through his political writings on the rights of the people and just proper role of government. Locke believed that people create their government to keep them safe, to improve their well-being, and to enforce only the natural laws. Locke argued that these natural laws, derived from God, provided for the preservation of one's life, liberty, and possessions, which Thomas Jefferson changed to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In his second treatise, Locke describes the idea for power sharing, stating that the legislative and executive powers should be in distinct hands. Locke believed in the use of the legislator that is, quote, put into the hands of diverse persons who duly assembled have by themselves or jointly with others a power to make laws, which when they have done, being separated again, they themselves subject to the laws they have made. Locke's social contract theory that government exists to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men and deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, is also reflected in our founding documents. Finally, Locke's philosophy that man's rights are derived from God is consistent with John Winthrop's view and the repeated references to God in our founding documents. For instance, the Articles of Confederation references the greater governor of our world, and the Declaration of Independence references nature's God as the source of man's rights. These beliefs enable the newly formed United States to hold fast to the ideal of a more perfect union designed to form a bright, shining city upon a hill. And so now I'll give a presentation as the state president for the Texas Society of the Children of the American Revolution on our state project. Poster board here that shows this. I don't know if all of y'all can see it now, and I'll just leave this up, so if you want to come by later and look at all the pictures, you can do so. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to put it again. Okay. So I'm switching sort of modes here from the night essay contest to the Texas Society president to give you this presentation. So howdy, it is with great pleasure that the Texas Society of Children of the American Revolution greets you. Like everything in Texas, our Texas Society is bigger than stronger than ever. Currently, our membership consists of 37 societies across our great state with approximately 900 members. This membership total comprises almost 10% of the national CAR membership. And our members are very active. We have members serving the National Society in various leadership capacities. One of our national projects this year is America's Lasting Legacy, honoring the sacrifices of Americans' veterans. NSCR has two goals to honor the American heroes of the past and present. First, members will participate in fundraising activities to support Hope for the Warriors. Specifically, NSCR will be supporting a Warrior's Wish, a program which supports severely injured veterans in their transition back to civilian life. Their goal is to raise $25,000. The second goal of the CAR is to meet objective service. NSCAR is committed to honoring our patriots with a goal of 25,000 hours of community service. In fact, our recent South Central meeting, we participated in a service project honoring Camp Hope, a Texas nonprofit which assists veterans suffering from PTSD. We have great national projects this year, and we are eager to promote this very worthwhile cause. Our Texas Society also has great state projects as well. To understand significance, let's travel back in time. March 2nd, 1836. On this day, 189 brave Texans, including Colonel William Barrett Travis and Davy Crockett, were defending the Alamo in San Antonio from Santa Anna's forces. This battle was a crucial conflict of the Texas Revolution. March 2nd, 1836. On this same day, 59 delegates, each representing a different settlement in Texas, gathered about 150 miles northeast of the Alamo for a constitutional convention at the town of Washington to discuss the future of Texas. On that cold March 2nd morning, those delegates assembled in a simple, windowless wooden structure, now known as Independence Hall, and formally declared, quote, that the people of Texas do constitute a free, sovereign, and independent republic. The Texas Declaration of Independence was modeled after the United States Declaration of Independence, drafted by Thomas Jefferson 60 years earlier. The Declaration contains a statement on the nature of government, a list of grievances, and the final Declaration of Independence. All 59 signers unanimously declared their independence against Mexico. The original 12-page document was delivered to Washington, D.C. 5 handwritten copies were immediately distributed to Bexar, Bear, Brazoria, Goliad, Nacogdoches, and San Felipe. 1,000 hand-built copies was printed at the San Felipe for distribution to the Republic. Only 12 copies and printed handbills remain today, and unfortunately, all 5 handwritten copies have never been located. The original declaration is currently on display in Austin, Texas. Washington on the Brazos State Historic Site is known as the birthplace of Texas. It is literally where Texas became Texas, because the location where Texas formally declared our Texas independence and its intention to separate from Mexico. This act by these brave men officially established the Republic of Texas. For our state project this year, the Texas Society has honored these 59 signers of the Texas Declaration of Independence by raising funds to provide a signer's wall on the glass door that leads from the Visitor Center to the Independence Hall at the Washington on the Brazos State Historic Site. Our theme this year is Declaring Our Texas Independence. This entrance over here will be transformed on the Washington on the Brazos site will be transformed into a signer's wall, highlighting the names of the 59 signers. The wall of signers will honor these brave men and will be a permanent addition to the Visitor Center. It will serve as a testament to the sacrifice and valiant efforts of the men who made, declared, and secured our Texas liberty. After the visitors walk through the signers' wall, they will enter upon the sacred site of the Independence Hall. The Texas Society is also pleased to work in partnership with Washington on the Brazos State Historic Park Association, a nonprofit organization which helps preserve the rich history of the heroic actions taken at Washington and provides unique insights into the lives and times of the 59 delegates who made a formal decision, the Declaration of Independence from Mexico. It is the oldest support group and affiliated foundation with the Texas Parks and Wildlife System. The association generates support and funding to facilitate programs, celebrations, and education at Washington on the Brazos State Historic Site, which consists of the four following attractions: the Independence Hall, the Star of the Republic Museum. This museum collects and preserves every culture of the Texas Republic from 1836 to 1846 and interprets the history and values of early Texans. And the Barrington Living History Farm. This interactive experience, which costume interpreters allow visitors to explore the original home of Dr. Anson Jones, the last president of the Republic of Texas. And there, visitors can see the daily life of Texans in the 1850s and help with planting, cultivating, and harvesting the fields, and doing tours on the farm and exploring the homestead. And the Visitor Center, where the signer's wall will be located. This summer, I spent an entire day visiting Washington on the Brazos State Historic Site, and it was a lot of fun. There's great history and interactive learning experience for all of the ages, especially kids. I got to pretend I was one of the 59 signers at Independence Hall and feed the oxen and pigs at the Barrington Living Farm and explore the interactive exhibits at the museum. It's a very nice place. The Texas Society is so proud and excited to be working in partnership with this fine organization. To support our project this year, Texas Society is pleasant to offer lapel pins for the donations of $10 or more. With special permission from Washington the Brazos State Park Association, these lapel pins feature where Texas became Texas, which is layered over a blue star. Its color scheme reflects the Dawson flags, which is the first flag flown over the settlement. On the reverse of the lapel pin is our TSCR web address and the 2019 project service year. We're especially excited because the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department loves our pin. In fact, the superintendent of the Texas Park has authorized park rangers to wear our pin as their official uniform in September 2018 to March 19. And when I visited, all of the park rangers there were wearing this pin, which is amazing. Also, our Brazos State pin is being sold in the Visitor Center gift shop with proceeds benefiting the Texas project. And if the gift shop reorders our pins, then our website address will remain so the Texas Society has an ongoing marketing item at the Washington the Brazos. And the Washington State Park Association is incorporating our pin into their very marketing materials and seeking donations to fund our project. In addition, the Texas Society is offering brightly colored quill prints for donations of $2 or more, and these quill pins, which would make great gifts to children and grandchildren, celebrate the will of the 59 signers and change the course of history with the stroke of a pen. By honoring these 59 signers of Texas of the Declaration of Independence, we honor the spirit that makes each of us proud to call ourselves Texans. Thank you, and thank you so much for your support as we honor America's lasting legacy by declaring our Texas independence.
Thanks, Trevor. That was very impressive, and we really do appreciate your work, both Boy Scouts as well as the CAR. The display will be set up in the center table, so please take a look at it afterwards. Ms. Burke, would you like to join us real quick?
And Trevor is selling pens and quill pens, so if anybody would like to purchase pens or quill pens,
Absolutely.
take care of that for you.
I'm sure you'll have some takers on that. Trevor would like to recognize you for your work that's with the Texas CAR. We'd like to present you with the CAR SAR Medal of Appreciation.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And there's a certificate that goes with that. So,
Let's jump in.
George B. Trevor.
Can't see the camera, the camera can't see you.
Our official start person.
Send this off to National Enquirer.
He can get you some wallets.
Nick Harper.
Nick, are you near? Mr. Harper, our treasurer, will you join us?
Trevor's had a very busy year. He just read his essay, which was excellent. So we've asked our treasurer, Nick Harper, to come up, and he has some presentations to make. Trevor's also been very involved with our Joseph S. Rumbaugh oration contest, as well as obviously a very active Eagle Scout.
Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do the essay first.
Essay, light essay, something.
Yeah. Trevor's receiving a certificate and a $300 check for his work on the night essay contest. Yeah, this is the more important piece right here.
Oh, I got a certificate on your right.
Next is his work on the oratory contest, the Joseph S. Rumbaugh oration contest, with a certificate and another $300 check. And this last one, we don't have a certificate for, but there is a $300 check, which is obviously more important, so, for his work as an Eagle Scout. So. Yeah, we'll ban them out.
Okay, that's good. Hold that position. Okay. And I'll be back tomorrow. Take the picture. One more. Good. Thank you. Okay.
A word about the checks. These are the checks that are representative of the winner in the chapter. With his winning each category of the night essay, Eagle Scout essay, and the oration contest, he will go on to the state competition in April, where he stands to take in bigger checks. And after he wins at state, he goes on into the national competition where he takes big checks. On the oration contest, as was explained last month, because of his involvement in interviewing with various colleges and universities for scholarship consideration and accepting a bid from one of the colleges, he was unable to compete in the Region 4 oration contest in Thailand. He had a previous appointment with one of the colleges. So by hook or crook and calling in a lot of markers, I found a region that had no competitive student for the oration contest in April and got approval from both state and that region to accept him to represent that region. He'll still be sponsored by us, but he'll be representing Region 2 when he goes before them in the oration contest, and this gives him an opportunity to go on further from there. So we're justly proud of Trevor, not only for what he has done for CAR and for the community, but likewise in initiating his presentations for our chapter, and we're going to get a lot of recognition from that. If we don't, we'll kick him up.
Trevor, what college are you going to? Have you made a decision yet?
No, I haven't decided yet. I'm still looking at all the different options, and I haven't heard back from all the colleges that applied to me.
Which college have you applied to?
I applied to Texas A&M, I applied to Baylor, I applied to University of Texas at Austin, and a bunch of other schools across the nation.
Where would you like to go?
I don't know all the places I've been to, so I don't think it's too early for me to make that decision.
I understand.
However, he'll get the highest bid from Brown.
Yeah. Congratulations, Trevor. So, I'd like to introduce our main speaker for today. Mark Rabbit is here representing the North Texas Patriot Guard Riders. Mark is a native of Springfield, Illinois. His career took him to Denver, working with Nationwide Paper, which later became Champion International, and later International Paper, and a 30-year career from what I understand. He and his wife ended up living in the Washington, D.C. area, thanks to her job, where he became involved with the Virginia Patriot Guard Riders in 2011. He's been very active in that organization since. When they ended up back in Texas, I believe in 2014, he joined the North Texas Patriot Guard Riders Organization. And he's currently serving as the Assistant Deputy State Captain and is on the board of the State of Texas Patriot Guard Riders and is the ride captain for North Texas. He's dedicated his time with Patriot Guard Riders to his father, Bud Gravitt, and two uncles, Joe and Louis Gortz. All three were United States World War II veterans. U.S. Army for those who are keeping score. So they spend a lot of time, he and his wife spend a lot of time in Denver with family. So, Mark, please.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction, Mark. And Trevor, allow me to say, young man, you have a very bright future in front of you. Thank you very much. I've been asked today to go over a little bit about where the Patriot Guard came from, where they got started, and tell you a little bit about what we do. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go over a little bit on vision and our mission. Again, where we started, what makes the Patriot Guard Riders, and that is our individual riders, as you'll see as we move on. I'm going to show a short video that basically explains one of the reasons why, the main reason why we got started, and then a little bit about our structure and how to request our presence. If you have a loved one that served honorably in the armed forces and or the first responder, the fire department, or a policeman, if you invite us, we will be there for your loved one in support of their and honor their service and in support of you and your family. So I'm just going to get after it. If anybody's got any questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt me. Just raise your hand and I'll try to answer. I hope I get some questions. We are a diverse group of members from across the nation. We have one thing in common, that's an unwavering respect for the service of our veterans and first responders, honorably discharged veterans, active duty deaths, killed in action, and first responders. Those are the people and families that we serve. We are a 100% volunteer, federally registered 501c3 nonprofit which ensures dignity and respect and memorial services honoring fallen military, first responders, and honorably discharged veterans. Our main mission is to attend the funeral services of fallen military as invited guests of the family. Pretty simple what we do on every mission we undertake, and that's to honor two objectives. Show our sincere respect for our fallen, their families, and their communities, and to shield the mourning families and their friends from interruptions from outside forces, basically protesters. And we accomplish this through strictly nonviolent means. We came from a situation that originated in Kansas by a group of people in what is called the Westboro Baptist Church. In August 2005, members of the American Legion Riders from Mulvane, Kansas learned members of the Westboro Baptist Church were staging protests. Am I sounding okay here? At the funeral of fallen military members. That American Legion post decided to do something about it. They organized and formed a committee charged with developing a strategy to deal with the Westboro protesters. When they learned of a scheduled event at the funeral of Sergeant John Doles in Oklahoma, they established a mission statement which included getting the family's permission which to this day is a requirement, as you'll see in subsequent slide. Coordination with law enforcement, and they sent out a call to all motorcycle clubs in the region to muster at the funeral of Sergeant Dole in Chelsea, Oklahoma. More than 70 riders from more than 500 miles away made the trip to protect the grieving Dole's family. The picket line of about a half dozen protesters was completely blocked off by a row of motorcycles displaying huge American flags that seemed to join together in one continuous star-spangled banner. The Dole family asked us to let the engines roar at the first sign of the protest, and that's exactly what they did, effectively drowning out the protest. And that's where we came from that event on that day. This is primarily a recruitment presentation, and recognizing that your involvement with your fine organization here may preclude you coming out and joining us on the flag line, but we are sure going to invite you to do so. We're all volunteers. You don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to ride a motorcycle. There are currently, over 300,000 of us nationwide, and very nearly 2,500 of us here in North Texas. Men and women of all ages. You do not have to be a veteran. You do not have to ride a motorcycle. You do not have to have one of these motorcycle vests. We have two things in common, all of us. And our only prerequisite for joining us is an unwavering respect for our military and first responders, and the willingness to stand for them because they stood for us. That's the only two. The Patriot Guard rider. Oh, let me straighten something out. I am no longer the Assistant Deputy State Captain. Someone else took that job from me, with my gratitude. So I am still a ride captain, but I'm no longer the Assistant Deputy State Captain. The rider, those 2,500 here in North Texas, they are the backbone of the North Texas Patriot Guard riders. They voluntarily come out and stand our flag lines, that you can see there, in all kinds of weather, rain, sleet, snow. We don't always ride, but if it's not snowy or icy, we'll have our contingent of guys that always, and gals, that always ride their motorcycle. Rain, shine, summer, winter, because of their love for our veterans. I'm going to play this short video because it helps answer the question of where did we come from. It just takes me a minute to get it up there. Well, we may not be able to play it. Let me make sure this thing is on. My apologies. As we say in the Patriot Guard riders, we'll have a mission plan, everything's lined out, the family knows we're going to be there, the funeral director knows we're going to be there. Something happens often to rearrange our schedule, our routine. That's when we say supper coming. It's always something. Supper coming. So let's see if I can do this here. If I can't play it, maybe I can come back to that. Well, I lost my internet connection. It worked when I got here. I apologize for that. So I'm going to skip the movie. in conjunction made with the Patriot Guard Riders and the NRA's line of duty. Well, I got my little portable Wi-Fi over there, and it wouldn't work. Senator County.
Yes.
Fantastic.
See what's required of new members?
We just formed a new technology committee.
Oh, this might work out here. Uh-oh. Well, try this one more time, then I'm gonna give up on it. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I lost my audio, doggone it.
He'll never get a ticket.
Oh, you know what? Let's get a computer here, this worked last night.
Can I just get a microphone to your computer?
No, but it did yesterday. I'm gonna give it all.
Okay.
I will explain it.
Yeah. Volume's up there, volume's on, sure.
If you'd like to see the video, NorthTexasPGR.org. NorthTexasPGR.org. Then you go to About. Okay. It is a graphic description, video presentation about what it's like to be a family member that has the military show up at their front door. The denial that the family goes through when they recognize that car and those two soldiers coming up to their door to give them the bad news, which is further exacerbated by the fact that they catch wind of these Westboro people coming to their loved one's funeral. And the feeling of gratitude that they got when they saw these people that they don't know that didn't know their loved one was there. Thank you. To honor their family and their friends. It is a good video. It's a little bit dated, but it makes the point of what we do. 12 regions across Texas, primarily North Texas here. We happen to be, and it's not because I'm a member of North Texas, but we are, with Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery, the most active in Texas in terms of sheer numbers. Stretches 180 miles east to west from the Red River south about 180 miles. A whole list of counties that we're responsible for. We are one of the busiest regions in the country, not only North Texas. This slide is dated, averaging 50 missions a month, 680 missions in 2016. That has grown to nearly 70 a month and almost 800 missions in 2018. The outstanding group of riders are dedicated to the fallen and their families. But it's the riders that make it happen. It's the people that show up every day that make it happen for us. So each mission we undertake has two basic objectives: to show our sincere respect and to shield the mourning family and their friends. Since we got started in 2007, the Westboro Baptist Church has been on a steady decline, thank God. When I was a ride captain in Virginia, the ride captains were charged with going to the Westboro Baptist website and check their itinerary. They actually posted an itinerary where they were going to schedule their protests throughout the country. It was incumbent upon the ride captain to let the riders know the likelihood, whether or not there was a likelihood that they would be there that day. We rarely saw them. I joined in 2011. By that time, it had become illegal to stage protests inside the cemetery gates. But having the right to protest was respected by the cemetery. And they put them, for those of you that haven't been to Arlington, there's a place where the people that take the the subway to Arlington, they come out of the ground there, and they made the Westboro Baptist Church stage right there. Well, I don't think it was 2 weeks before the tour bus drivers caught on to that. You know, the big, tall tour buses? And every time the Westboro Baptist Church was there, these tour buses voluntarily pulled in front of them. No one could see them. No one could hear them. They were effectively shut out from Arlington National Cemetery. It's a beautiful thing. The flag line. The flag line is where we post flags or old flags in a line around the funeral home, church, or the cemetery. We will stand tall and silent in between those flags as a show of respect for our fallen and their family. The line is usually positioned where it shields the family from any uninvited guests, which in my 8 years now, I've never seen protesters outside of the Westboro Baptist Church behind the bus. Our mission has changed from one of shielding the family to more supporting the family and honoring their loved ones. We are only at these missions at the request of our families, either through the funeral home or someone in the family that may be familiar with us. They submit, before I forget, I put brochures on your tables. It tells you a little bit about who we are, and it tells you how to join us, And it also tells you how to request our presence and loved ones in service. I also have business cards there. If you have any questions afterwards, please feel free to grab one and call me. Also, when the requests come in, the family has an opportunity to request us to escort their loved one from the church or the funeral home to their place of interment or interment. We'll do processions, leading the family to their loved one's final resting place. So again, a request for our presence must come directly from the family. It can't be from a friend. It has to be to the family. We don't invite ourselves to these services. We have to be invited by the family. And the request can be made on the national website, which is www.patriotguard.org, or it can be made here in Texas and North Texas at www.northtxpgr.org. The mission comes into our dispatcher, then she finds someone like me that's willing to take the mission, make the contacts with the funeral home and the family so that we can explain to the, first of all, offer our condolences to the family and tell them what we're going to do, a little bit about our flag line, and then we offer photographs. We always have to get permission. We will not take permission or photographs without their permission at their services. And then we'll post them online, and then the ride captain will send the family a link to those photographs so they can share them all with the family members or friends that weren't able to be there. Okay. Anyone can be a member. We need our ranks to grow. With the number of missions that we do, we need to constantly bring new blood, younger blood. That's an example of that's a very poor slide. A mission. When you sign up on the national website, you become a member of the PGR. When you sign up on the North Texas website, all that does is put you on a email list. The only email list and the only way we are able to notify riders of what we do is through email. So the only emails you will get from North Texas PGR is notification of a service going on for a fallen veteran or first responder and where and when to stage. That's the only thing you get from us. Okay, it's that simple. We tell people just show up. Here's an example of our flag line for our Killed in Action, Sergeant Stigler. This was in 2017. That's basically what we do. Very simple. It's amazing what it means to the family. The family expects to see the military. They expect to see their priest, the reverend, and they expect to see family and friends, but they don't expect to see a bunch of gray-haired men and women standing around in leathers that don't know their loved one, but are there to show respect for their and honor for their service. Anyone can be a member. There are no restrictions. You're welcome to join us. And that does it for my presentation. Sorry about the video.
Let me tell you my Patriot Guard story. Back several years ago, my wife's Aunt Dorothy passed away. Aunt Dorothy was a World War II veteran, and she had lived here in the Dallas area for years and had moved down to Medina, Texas
down by Fredericksburg years and years ago, passed away, and my wife went down to be with her cousin, the daughter, to talk about the funeral. On a Thursday, Mary called me up. The grave outside service was Saturday, by the way. And Thursday, Mary called up and said, "Is there any way that you can get the Patriot Guard riders to appear at Dorothy's funeral?" And I said, "Good Lord, I don't know. I don't know any Patriot Guard riders at all." And I still don't remember how I found out, or I Googled or whatever I did. And I might have talked to you even. But anyhow, I talked to this guy and said, "Is there any way on this short notice to get at least 2 Patriot Guard riders?" And he said, "I'll try." I gave him the place and the time and all that other good stuff. We showed up at the cemetery. There was 30 Patriot Guard riders with their motorcycles lined up, standing in formation, the flags out. And then not only that, but we needed to have somebody get Aunt Dorothy out of the van. And one of the guys volunteered and pointed out, I don't know, 6 or 8 of the guys, and they hauled out the body and the casket, put it up on the, what they call it, pier or whatever it is, and they placed the flag on it. And then I had one of my chaplains conducted the service, and after it's over with, the Patriot Guards took the flag very professionally, folded it up, and presented it to me. And then I gave it to the daughter and everything. I have told that story 100 times because I was so impressed. Just on very short notice, I only wanted 2, and 30 showed up. Thank you.
Thanks, Martha. Hang on one second, Mark. We do appreciate you being here today, and we really appreciate your service and the service of Patriot Guard riders, our veterans, and our first responders. It's obviously very deeply appreciated. In recognition of our appreciation, we'd like to give you this certificate and also a Liberty Bell and the meaning behind that. Let me give a notice. Yeah, there you go.
Move the bell in toward the certificate so it can be seen. Yeah, it matches your coat.
Yeah. It's camouflage.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, good.
Nice job, Mark. And nice job, Mark Harrison. Both of you. He got the job as program chairman the same way I got the job as program chairman. Someone walks up to your table at breakfast and said, "Oh, by the way, you're being nominated." And before he could say no, I called in the troops and bring Whitelock over, and we strong arm people, and there you are. Actually a lot of fun though, right? Yeah. You're going to hear more about some of the other stuff he's got planned. He got some meetings really great coming up. Just a couple quick things. Last month I talked about getting involved, which is kind of like my cry this year for the administration, and I've met with all of my officers, or most of all of them, during January. We've also formed kind of an ad hoc committee. I'm going to pick from time to time 3 people that have been longer in the tooth than I have with the chapter and have had some previous officership. And Tom Whitelock and I are going to meet with these people from time to time, about 4 times a year, quarterly, so that we can get some ideas on how we can grow the firm, move the firm, improve the firm, all the things that need to be done to make a chapter bigger, better, stronger. And I know we'll probably find a lot of the same issues will come up again, and that's fine, because I want to hear from length and strength of the membership. By the same token, we can always get new ideas, because I get something new every time I talk to Whitelock. I don't know where he gets it. He says it's in his dreams, but I get all that stuff. So I thank the 3 gentlemen I talked to this morning. We'll meet in March, and we'll have a brief discussion, I promise you, Marshall. I'm telling you. Okay. Hate to do it again, but Mark, you want to talk to us about March?
Next month, we'll be recognizing our first responders. There'll be representatives of the Dallas Police Department and the Dallas Fire Department here.
For those of you that were here last year when we had that same presentation, you know, it was a gala affair. We had wives, families, children. We had a really, really nice time. Now, I wasn't here. It was my job to bring them in, but everybody else took care of getting the program run. So this is going to be a first time for me to just kind of be involved, and I'm excited. One of the things we've done this year that we want to change up just a little bit, because it is a first responders meeting and awards, we have sent out a personal invitation to our chief of police and our new fire chief. We have not heard back that they will be accompanying the people who are going to be nominated for these awards, but we're hoping they will. The only indication I got when Mark and I were working on this is the lady with the police department who I dealt with last year, Sherry, she did go as far as to ask me, so now what date is that? Because I've got to let the captain's driver know. So we may have the chief and we may have the other chief. So don't miss next month's meeting. That's going to be great. The minutes from the last meeting were distributed to the table. And if anybody picked them up too quickly, you'll notice there was some ink smudge on them, because Whitelock finished them about 5:30 this morning, because he called me last night in a panic, was telling me, I says, don't worry about it, we can do it. No, I can't do that. First time I don't show up with my meetings minutes, somebody's going to say something. It'll probably be somebody like Kittrell or one of those guys. I said, okay, fine. Well, guess what? His wife made him get up early and finish it, and I thank you, Tom. Is there a motion on the floor that we approve the minutes? Mr. Bowles, and a second?
Second.
Second, James, thank you. Approved. Mr. Harper, sir. He has distributed the financial statement, of which I think you all have a copy of it. He told me it balanced, so I'm going to take his word for it until such time as he's not doing it. Now, the big morning. Mr. Pinkerton, would you please join me?
Okay, today we're going to induct a new member, but just one moment before that, I wanted to tell you something that was hot off the press. I found that we will have 2 more new members next month. They were approved on February the 7th, and Tony Passos is one of them, and Ray Fox is the other one. So we have 2 more. So we're on a roll here, getting the new members in. And now, Paula, would you and Kathleen and Sheila come up here, and we will perform the ceremony and get the photographer to tell us where they want us lined up here. Over here. So we have a little ceremony that we go through. It's officially recognize that you and your family.
Okay, let's begin. Compatriot McGowan, you have been accepted as a member of the Dallas chapter of the Texas Society of the Sons of the American Revolution. Do you, as a defendant, I should have you raise your right hand. Okay. Do you, as a descendant of one of the patriots and heroes of the American Revolution, reaffirm your ancestors' faith in the principles of liberty and our constitutional republic? And will you pledge to support the patriotic, historical, and educational objectives of the National Society of the Sons of the American Revolution?
I will.
It is my honor now to have Jerry Pinkerton give you your membership certificate.
Yep.
Maybe we'll look later.
And understanding that you are one of the fortunate people who were able to bring some family with you, We understand your wife Kathleen and mother-in-law Sheila are here, and I would ask that Mr. Pinkerton has already given you the rosette, and the rosette be placed in his lapel pin, as a lapel pin. Paul, this rosette is the official recognition emblem of the Sons of the American Revolution. Its blue and buff colors represent the colors of the uniform worn by George Washington. Wear it proudly, as we all do. Compatriot McGowan, we welcome you to the Dallas chapter. We ask that you work with us to fulfill the purposes and objectives of the Sons of the American Revolution. At this time, please address the new members, or your new membership, with a little bit about your patriot.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me tell you a little bit about my patriot. First, I want to thank my wife Kathleen for her tireless research through this, and for Jerry getting me over the finish line. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. My patriot was Alexander McCown. He lived from 1755 to 1835 and came to Pennsylvania from Ireland. The records say that he served with General Washington as a private in the Pennsylvania militia. This is from his tomb in Old Bardstown Cemetery in Kentucky. He served as a soldier in the Revolutionary War. He was in the Battle of Long Island and Princeton under General Washington. He was in the defeats of Crawford and St. Clair and many other skirmishes. Distinguished for bravery and charity, he died in the faith. A variety of sources also document that the original inventor of the steamboat, John Fitch, died in 1798 in a room he was renting from Alexander in Bardstown, Kentucky. From the Nelson Sentinel, August 1st, 1900. From the beginning to the close of our country's struggle, Alexander McCown was with the leaders of it, always true and faithful to his trust. Of these stirring events, Alexander never tired of talking, and to relate circumstances which surrounded all appeared to be glory enough for him in his day. Our hero was a true patriot and never failed to express his disapproval to every sentiment of treason against his country, emanating from any source. Alexander was a very tall, broad-shouldered man, weighing 250 pounds, kept his hair in a queue, as was the custom. He was distinguished for his many noble traits and had a heart full of sympathy and respect for the downtrodden. I'm honored to be in the lineage of such an honorable man and part of this admirable group. In relation to what Trevor was talking about earlier, his son, Alexander's son, Joshua Wilson McCown, moved to Tennessee and then onward to Texas in the 1800s. Settled in Cameron, right along the Brazos. He was good friends with Sam Houston, and as we saw in several articles, he helped Sam Houston smuggle the original Texas records from Houston up to Washington on the Brazos. And so he was friends. I don't know if he's on the list of 59, but he knew a lot of those guys that helped in the beginning of Texas. He later settled in, it's called Towash, Texas, down by Whitney. And Towash was then covered when they built Lake Whitney and dammed it up. And now there is a memorial. McCown Valley State Park is right there on the side of Lake Whitney, where Joshua Wilson was. So kind of fun to explore my heritage. So I appreciate being part of this group. Thank you.
Can I get all of the membership here to stand and welcome our newest member?
So we present the new members with the official challenge card of the Texas Society, and here it is, and
Here's the history of the challenge coin.
All right.
you have a chance to go through this. I think everyone here, but perhaps you, knows the history. Perfect.
As you will find, as you get more encountered with the membership, always carry the challenge coin. Because somebody like Jerry or Whitlock or Les or someone will throw one on the table, and if you don't have yours, you're buying the drinks.
All right, there we go.
There
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you. Thank you, Jerry. And by the way, thanks for the hot off the press. I can't tell you how I appreciate what these two guys do, Inland and Chapter. because they flip back and forth. The work that you do to get our membership growing, and I thank you again. I just don't know that I'll ever get Jerry out of that seat. Anyhow, our historian, Joseph Salineker.
Good morning. I'll make this brief. I brought the 2018 scrapbook. It's on the rear table back there if anybody's interested to inspect it. That's what's going to be going to the state convention. And also, I would like to encourage you, we have a supply of the digital scrapbooks from 2018, and those are available for sale for $20. See Nick, he takes care of all the funds. And this has all the videos that we took during 2018, as well as all the photographs and PDFs, all on a thumb drive there for you. And I would like to thank Mitch Singleton. He has stepped forward and he's graciously consented to assist me in my videotaping endeavors here. And also Les Anderson, he brought a bunch of photographs from 2018 that I did not have, and I can add those to the scrapbook. So thank you very much, and please send me photographs, videos, anything you take during the year. I really need those for the 2019 scrapbook. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. As was brought home almost painfully to me in December when Tom talked to me about the annual report, which I had never had anything to do with and didn't know about. There's just voluminous work that needs to be done at the end of the year to record everything that the chapter has done. It's important that we memorialize and historialize what we have and what we do. Two things came to mind. One is anybody who's doing anything on behalf of the chapter, I don't care if you take a scrap of paper, write it down, and put it in an envelope and hold on to it. Because as the year rolls on, we want to know what you've done that we may not be aware of publicly. Because little by little they get to Joe, and sometimes they don't. We want to make sure we capture all the activity for the SAR and for the firm. Secondly, as he's capturing that, that same activity is going to be listed and memorialized in our annual report, which this year Tom has taken on because of last year's issue of missing a president. He's taken it on this year and he's working diligently. We're about ready to have my wife complete it because I am not a computer guy. But we'll get that taken care of very shortly. The point is, both of the annual report and the historian's scrapbook are driven by the activities we have. So don't think that there's anything you do that isn't important to what the chapter is and the SAR. So just keep that in mind as you move forward through the year. Unfortunately, our chaplain isn't here, so I'm going to pass over Frank Pounders. For the committee chairman, Ralph McDowell.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we're working on the not paid members. This is an annual event. But this year, we have about 40 members out of 255 that have not paid their dues, according to the state secretary. Tom Whitelock, as usual, prepares nice reminders. And I've mailed one of these in an envelope, addressed envelope to our state treasurer. We're going to send the payments to the state treasurer now instead of sending them through me, because our state secretary, he gets our chapter rosters out more often than we used to get them. So we kind of can keep up with what's going on. So anyway, I have 2 payments in my pocket. I will mail in, and so the total right now is about 39. So anyone in here fail to pay their dues? Good, that's good. I expected you to. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome, Ralph. Thank you for what you do. By the way, he taught me a lesson last year. He came up to a meeting and asked me if I'd paid my dues. I wasn't carrying the receipt in my wallet. Now I do. So anytime you ask me, Ralph, I'll show you my receipt for my dues. For the color guard, Robert Kittrell.
I could talk here. Go right ahead. Okay.
The other several color guard activities you all know, beginning with the George Washington Parade and Railroad Day. For all those going, all the way to the parade on February the 23rd. It's a long parade and the only George Washington parade in the United States. And of course, we have the conference coming up, the Texas Conference, Austin, Texas. And the color guard is active in that with the opening and closing ceremonies. Next we have the parade, Battle Honor Parade coming up. People in the church, well, before that, we have Providence Christian School. Providence Christian School is an annual dinner. Also, partly because they contribute $100 every year just for us being there for Pilgrim's Day ceremony. That table is 10 at 8 o'clock. And we must be usually around 7:30. Medal Honor Parade, Gainesville, Texas, April the 13th, 10 o'clock. That morning, muster at 9:30. We should have a trailer for Ted Wilson, who's the commander of the Color Guard in Texas, up on the North Texas region. Then the Postal Festival Parade in Evans, May the 25th, 10 o'clock. Then the Audi Mercy Parade in Harvestville, June the 22nd. 10 o'clock, I'm sure it's there. The Lake Island Park City Parade, July the 4th. I remember last year we had the next Lake Island the Park City Parade. We were with Tom and Mason. We were on both columns. It's that July the 4th at 10 o'clock, up to 9:30. Veterans Day Parade. That's another long, but it's a matter of this parade really comes quickly. I mean, you think, well, it comes to the end of the year, the color guard first, and then it's the Paulus. And Ted Wilson again, he says there will be a trailer available. But November the 11th, at 11 o'clock in the morning, muster at 10 o'clock. That's basically it. By the way, the color guard is in event. The color guard is in. That doesn't count for the funerals at DFW Cemetery, flag retirement ceremony. So, color guard is very much involved. 12 or 13 minutes. We are here. These are just the major events here. Welcome.
Thanks, Reverend. Okay, if you want to have a good time, join the color guard. It's not really that difficult. I bought a pair of pants and a vest and bought a big hat, and pretty soon I was doing color guard events, and I learned an awful lot from the citizenship where we went to in Irving, and they brought new citizens into the country, to the kids' colonial day, to the parades that we went. And it's really wonderful to see the cause and effect that you get when you're involved with the color guard. And also, we've been involved with a number of the riders that you've had at the down at the Dallas National, and it's quite a display to see your guys coming in, and then to see a whole line of colonial garb people with their flags. It's very moving. So if you have any indication you want to do it, please get a hold of Kittrell and get into the color guard, because seriously, it didn't cost me more than 25 or 30 bucks to get in. Okay, Mr. Morton, I'm going to ask you to talk about two things. One would be the veterans, and the other one would be the poster contest.
We really have three things. First, the veterans, James Fairborn and myself, we work with the veterans. And I want to thank the chapter members because we're getting more participation in terms for the veterans. I go down every Thursday after our meeting and we take things to them. Tom Whitelock always has a ton of things to take down to them, and they're very, very appreciative. The second thing is we had the poster contest, and like we do every single year, I have about 30 posters in this next room, and I would appreciate it if our members would go through and we pick the best art and the best research. Our chapter gives $100 for the best art. We give $100 for the best research. We give $50 to the runner-up of the best art and $50 for the runner-up in the best research. We also have 8 $25 awards, which I call the Creativity Awards. And the schools are very much willing to participate. We've got about 6 schools that participated this year. We're getting less and less every year because of the political climate in our schools that do not want to honor American history. So we've switched a little bit and we've gone to the art students. And so anyway, we're getting more play with the art than we are with the teachers wanting to celebrate American history in the schools because they just don't teach it anymore hardly. The third aspect is that our American History Contest winner won our state, and she was here last year and read her essay. She'll get $1,500 for winning the state award, and we're going to send her on to the national. And our gentleman Brett, who does the state, he's very bullish on the fact that that he thinks we could win this year the national. If she wins the national, she gets an all expense paid trip to Williamsburg for a week, and they have different type of teacher meetings and whatever at Williamsburg. But I'd appreciate it if you all would come through after the meeting. I'll give you a ballot, and I've got a pen for everybody, and please do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Benjamin Franklin is the poster contest.
Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin.
That's the poster contest theme. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. All right. At that time, I'd like to see if there's any old business on the floor that we need to discuss. Okay, that said, how about new business? Jerry Brown.
Just 2 weeks ago, I met David Kinsey as he was walking through an expedited form of a gentleman in the hospice who was kind enough to walk it through, get me to sign it, and overnight it to National, and that person was approved February the 7th. 5th, February the 5th. But in the course of the speaking, with David, we talked about me attending the McKinney meeting because I have a nephew up there I'm trying to get in. And I said, what's the dress code? That's an interesting question. He said, because of Nathan White, there's quite a few people who wear ties, but I guess if we had to put it in writing, we'd say business casual. I said, that's good. So I went out and checked our Dallas chapter and what the dress code was, and I couldn't find anything in writing, and I checked Plano and couldn't find anything in writing. So I would like to see if this chapter would agree to post somewhere, newsletter or on the website, that our official garb is business casual, ties optional, or ties if you want, or however you guys want to say. That's what I like to post.
Jerry, you brought that up at a very poignant time because the three gentlemen I talked to this morning on the steering committee, that's one of the things that's number one on the agenda is going to be attendance and dress code. Now, my understanding when I joined is business casual is always acceptable. Coat and tie is a preference of a lot of members, such as myself, and always colonial dress. I think that's where we're headed. When I meet with the steering committee, I'll definitely get back to you to let you know, but I think that's what it's going to be, and I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Thanks a lot. Anything else? Okay. Well, at this point, I think Mr. Harper needs to join me because he's got something to give away.
We have a dazzling array of books on the back table, 7 of them to be exact, and one of them I'd call your attention to. We have another author in our midst in the membership that I just became aware of today when Robert Cottrell put down appears to be about an 1850 vintage Texas story about bandits and cattle thieves and Indians and all else in there. There's probably some Pony Express as well. Rob, keep those books coming in here, and we will keep them on the table. Tom is going to draw. I will keep count of the books in here, ready.
Thank you. Kathleen, we're going to refer to you as Lady Luck.
Okay.
Well, we're going to pick about 7 of them, I believe. We'll pick until they're gone. Okay. 807. Got a winner. All right. Bingo. 813. Got another winner. This is good. This is good. You are Lady Luck. 814. Had to be Gary. He signed in right behind you. There you go. 808. All right, Robert. 817. A newbie. Check it out. I love it. By the way, Paul, while you're going back to collect that, I should tell you that the thumb drive that Joe Sloniger was talking about, which is basically the history of 2018, I've already purchased one for you. So when you go back to that table, pick up a thumb drive, you can take it home and plug it into your computer and see what we did last year. You're welcome. That was 818? Was he 818?
He was 8.
He was 8, okay, then 818. No, 818?
Right here.
I'm cheating, I think.
You win, that's okay. Okay.
Okay.
You can do that.
Keep it up.
And then how about 801? 801 right here. Okay, that should be all, right? Kathleen, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
All righty. With that, I'm going to ask Secretary Whitelock if he will give us the benediction as we close the meeting.
Heavenly Father, we thank you very much for the opportunity to gather together. to hear the words of the inspiring speakers today, and likewise to enjoy our friendship and comradeship at this particular society meeting. In closing, we thank you for being with us, keeping us safe and healthy, and also for picking the winning poster today.
Thank you, Tom. And before we do the SAR recessional, just a reminder, the poster contest will follow the closing of the meeting, and Mr. Morton will be back there with the ballots. We have the pins and the quill pins on sale to support Trevor and his project this year. We want to do that, and of course we got the thumb drives on the back table. By the way, on those thumb drives, it's a $20 cost. 10 of it goes to the chapter. So you're kind of making a combination.
We have Trevor's display here too.
And we've got Trevor display that you want to see for the wall, okay? All right, with that, would you join me in the SAR recessional? Until we meet again, let us remember our obligations to our forefathers who gave us our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, an independent Supreme Court, and a nation of free men. We are adjourned.